Right, stimulus two. So the second approach to this problem, besides having 350 billion appropriations that go to these departments for these various purposes, obviously we're going to need to do that. We're going to need to keep our government alive and solvent. But let's split apart our basic governmental mission of providing services from our mission of stimulating the economy. Let's not mix things just yet. There are two requirements. Okay? So the requirement we want to look at first of all is the stimulus. So I say the no bureaucracy approach. Let's see if I can make this work. No bureaucracy approach. Can you see that there? Is that right? Okay, well, whatever. So, the principles of a no bureaucracy approach are, let's see if I can show this to you. Camera, how about like that? The principles are no support for Fortune 500 companies. I made a previous video called Foreclosure Fiasco Billionaire Bailout. You can hear me if you want. Tell you why you shouldn't give your money to Fortune 500s. They have too many natural advantages already. They can be absorbed into the economy if we attack it from a different corner, in my humble opinion. I think that's a principle, and we can say that the near quasi-monopolies, many of them are filthy rich and will stay that way because they're quasi-monopolies. Verizon, Microsoft. No government picking the winners is number two, okay? No government picking the winners. I think everybody agrees on that. Three, all Americans are covered. No targeted promotion. As a general principle, everybody should be able to engage in this process of stimulating the economy. If we can provide an across-the-board approach, it is a benefit because it doesn't discriminate or promote it. We don't get involved in picking the winners and losers. Now, the other requirement to the stimulus package is that we want to have the minimum risk with the maximum response. And the maximum guarantee to work is we're betting, we're significantly reducing our remaining cards in our hand by playing $1 trillion card here. Nobody can disagree with that. So, what's the plan? A no bureaucracy approach? The no bureaucracy approach. One, in my opinion, we should allocate $300 to $400 billion to small business and medium-sized business. We create 10 million $25,000 lines of credit for small business people. We create 1 million $100,000 lines of credit for small businesses that are a bit larger or can demonstrate a better plan. Then we have placements of 100,000 to a million. 100,000 companies that get $1 million line of credit. So altogether you have $100 billion for the $100,000 million lines of credit, and for the small businesses we have 100,000 and how many of them? Let's see, and that's for $1 million. So that's another 100 billion. Then we have 10 million with 25,000. That's 250 billion. The point is that not all that money would be used at the same time, because when you get a letter of credit, you don't draw it all down instantly, a line of credit. So let's say we only had 50% of it in play, and you had repayment revenues cycling back in. Your actual outflow might be as little as 300 billion. And you can cut these numbers in half, and you're still talking about a mind-numbing number of small business investments. It's all got to be basically automated, and there must be severe fraud penalties. And it must be easy to catch fraud, obviously. But you're going to get an enormous return there. You're going to see 250% return the first year guaranteed, and no federal loser pickers. And no distortion of the economy, because no one company is getting so much money that they're turning the tables on their competitors or alternate choice industries, which is very dangerous with things like the broadband initiative, where there's going to be some companies that do it and others who don't. And it's distorting a field of play and picking a winning technology, which may be a bad technology except under unrealistic price supports. It undermines other better ideas. So 3, we have radically intense incentives, adding long-term costs. I beg your pardon. In 3, we're talking about the green business. With the green technology, what we do is we add all the long-term costs to any polluting industry that society has to bear, including risks, into the cost of their product, and those revenues are turned around and issued as green stamps for sustainable products. That way, you don't actually lose any money when you go out and buy a polluting product in terms of what it sets you back now. And gradually, we wean you off of these green stamps as the green energy becomes more and more viable, so that you're making less and less trips to the carbon store or the lousy toxic fertilizer store. So we begin tariffing non-sustainable goods and then issuing green stamps towards the purchase of sustainable goods that are 100% US dollar backed. So there you have a completely non-bureaucratic approach to a stimulus that creates a green energy system. That's the kind of talk Obama had in the spring at Cooper Union. So let's separate government development, and how can you possibly argue with that we shouldn't consider something like this seriously? Now, obviously, the other key is to regulate mortgage rates, which should have been done a long time ago. And we can easily solve this problem quickly by simply making the assets that everybody doesn't know what they're worth start to know what they're worth, which you do by creating certainty, by slowing foreclosures, by regulating interest rates. Why is this pulling teeth? So I say that in this case, you've got a very winning hand, and there's no government involvement fundamentally, other than in structuring the principles, which is where government should excel, rather than picking winners and losers. All right, thank you.